I'm Carl Lucci, founder of the I Refuse to Fail Partnership. And at our weekly events, what we do is have one of our I Refuse to Fail partners come up with a business topic that hopefully will help everybody. And then we let anybody else that's in the room chime in and talk about that, ask questions, go back and forth. That's fine. None of this is edited, and we'll be posting this on our I Refuse to Fail website, on our forum, and on LinkedIn. And so we welcome anybody that wants to attend one of our events and participate in any of these. Just go to irefusetofail.com, ask for an invite, and we'll be happy to send you one. So, Oleg, I'm going to turn it over to you, and you can take it from there. You can even, when people raise their hand or whatever, you can call on them yourself.
Okay. Can I also refuse them if they raise their hand?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I'm Oleg with PCS, and today I wanted to talk briefly about topic of what's in the industry called vibe coding, which is basically using AI to create programs. And a lot of people still these days don't know that they can do this. And I realize I'm talking myself out of potential jobs, but the reality is that these days you can actually have AI, you speak to AI in a normal English language that you can understand, and it'll create whatever programs or systems that you'd like it to create without practically any participation from you, except if it does something that not exactly what you thought or you described, you can tell it to change it to something else. But the bottom line is you're speaking to it and it creates these programs for you. And I wanted to advocate today for the concept of making things simple and efficient. Because a lot of things, speaking of health here, I was supposed to report to my doctors about my weight and my blood pressure, all this stuff. And I thought the easiest thing to do would be to document it somewhere. And since I'm hashtag no paper guy, I wanted to have some kind of application. So I buy this scale and I get this blood pressure monitor, and they all come with their own apps now. And you pull up the app, and they have ads, and they have all these different features, and basically a zillion different things that nobody needs. All I want is a simple way to track these few items on a daily basis, what medications I take, how much, my weight, my blood pressure, things like that, and be done. So I'm advocating for a very simple approach to creating applications, but because it's so easy now using AI, you can basically create applications for any need you have. And so that's what I want to talk about is the A, simplicity of it, and B, uh, ability to do so these days with ease for anybody. It doesn't matter if you've ever programmed or not. You can still create applications that will do the job you need to do.
Mute. So Oleg, I completely agree with that. As a software developer, I realize, of course, mentioning AI, we could potentially be saying, okay, well, now you can go create whatever you want. Interestingly enough, I decided to kind of dive into AI myself and created a fun app, a Tip Your Cap app, which is just for keeping track of my caps. It's just a hobby of mine that I wanted to create something for. And a couple weeks after I launched it, I had an insurance company reach out to me because they created a program for themselves that they felt like would revolutionize their agency. And they kind of knew exactly what they were looking for and what they wanted. So they knew exactly how to talk to AI. He had some technical background and things like that. But what he didn't have experience with was the security aspect of it. So he actually reached out and had our team take a look at it and do a full security audit. And we found a lot of different things. We had 30 pages, I think, of different technical things that really should have been kind of patched up before actually launching this out into the world and using it as a published application. So I think even though companies may be coming up with these types of ideas and programs for themselves, I think as developers ourselves, like you, Oleg, and myself, we may just kind of have to alternate things. We'll actually be doing security audits for people that are creating their own applications, or they might be able to take it to a certain distance and then they might need us to bring it to the finish line. So even though I think that some developers are kind of thinking, okay, well, now we have no place in the world, I still think that there's going to be that security aspect for those developers' needs and somebody that actually knows what they're doing to bring it to the finish line. So.
I think it's true of anything that, you need to know what you're doing. There's no question about that. But with that said, I still go back to what I said earlier, which is, people don't realize they can actually code something useful uh, in something meaningful to them, especially on the internal level too. Security is certainly an important thing when you go outside. When you're talking about doing things internally in the company, if you have employees, you have a company with 5 people, and you believe, you know what you need. You don't need to put it on the internet. You can just put it locally on the network. Anyway, thanks, Mark.
Very true.
Go ahead, Colleen.
Hi, Oleg. I love the keep it simple concept, obviously. But as someone who likes to keep it simple, I'd love to come up with a concept and then have somebody else do all the security tech on the back end. So, Mark, I love that as well. But I think that one of the things that really turns me off from these is probably the same thing that turns you off from it, Oleg, is all the ads and the commercials when you open them. I don't like that. And I think that maybe people want to provide an app that they give to other people for free or low cost. And so they're subsidizing that by allowing the ads on there. I think they'd be further ahead down the road to charge a little bit for it and have it ad free. That's all.
No, I totally agree. And that's exactly what they're doing it because, the scale was X amount of money, but the app was free. They didn't charge me for the app. I'm just saying the app itself is useless to me because of all the extra stuff that I don't need. So I wound up coding my own. It took me, for the record here, it took me 30 minutes to go from 0 to app I could use. It doesn't take that long. And now I have this app on a daily basis. I can run reports, I can do all kinds of stuff, but just the information I need, that's the key. It doesn't have a bunch of fluff, bunch of features, bunch of capabilities, nothing. Because usually there is a balance between features and between simplicity. The more features you add to any application, the less simplicity you're going to have. But at the same time, you don't want things to be so simple where it doesn't do anything for you. So you want to make sure that you have, when you code an app, you want to make sure you tell it basic features and options that you want to have, because those are mandatory for you. Who cares what anybody else says? For you, for what you need, that's important. And then you end at that point. You don't say, now we're going to add this feature and this feature, because it never ends. You could come up with a zillion different features. But I think the simplicity is important because you don't want people finishing university just to be able to use your app. So go ahead. Stephanie.
Yeah, I just wanted to second that. Like, I pretty much completely stopped using Wave apps because I just wanted to do one simple thing. I wanted to see my recent transaction and see what the fee was. I went through their entire navigation bar, getting madder and madder, and with every single click, it's like, I don't care about that. Where's my transaction? I don't care about that. Where's my transaction? And then I get to
that's
over to
exactly
Stripe.
the
It's like,
point.
oh, there's my transaction right there.
But Stephanie, that's the point. Is when you're talking developers who develop applications, they come from their perspective, their point of view, which is not your point of view. Everybody has their own point of view. Everybody has their own, you know your business better than anybody. This is true of anybody who's running a business. So you're the person who really knows what you're trying to accomplish, which makes you the best person to create this application. Before, it wasn't something easily done because people don't know how to program. I mean, people who are not in the business. But now with AI, anybody basically can be creating applications. And I'm not saying they're all going to be great. I mean, it may not be great, but at the same time, like I said, you have the best knowledge of the subject. So you just kind of got it. You become an orchestrator. Like people tell me, did you develop this? Did you do this? I say, I orchestrated it because it was my idea. It was me working with AI. It created all the code. I didn't write a single line of code. But the end result is, when it's up. So I call it like I'm orchestrating. Carl, finally.
Yeah, back on the security thing. This might sound almost like a redundant question, but if there's a need for security on all these, can you use AI to create a security app to make sure your app
Absolutely.
secure?
Yeah,
Okay.
basically you just need to you try to work with it as you're working with somebody who's really smart but doesn't know what you're trying to accomplish. So as if you were trying to relate to somebody smart, whatever you're trying to accomplish, you need to explain it to them. What is it that you want? You can't just say, I want you to build me an app. That doesn't mean anything. You actually need to describe. The more context you can give it, the better the result is going to be. And that's true of anything with AI. And so the next thing is you say, okay, I want to make sure that it has good, solid security precautions. Sorry, Mark, but yeah, is the way you can do it. And the thing will build, the password protection or whatever, however you want to do it. And you say, okay, no, I don't want the passwords. I want to be able to use the modern approach of, let's say somebody gets a code sent to their email, and then when they put the code back, then it lets them in. Things like that. So you can just, if you know how these security things work, in terms of the concept of how they work, not physically what to do to make it happen, you just tell it, I want to be able to do this business with email. I mean, you can call it anything you want. If you want to call it business, call it business. That allows people to, it'll send them some kind of a code, and then they have to put it into the application. That's how they log in. So we know it's them, it's the same, right email and all that. And it'll understand that. It knows all kinds of stuff that it'll be able to understand. But you need to relay enough information to it to be able to do it properly and do it like this. So anyway, hopefully that answers your question.
Okay. Well, does anybody else have a comment or a question that they would like to bring up before we finish up today on this? Okay. All right, Oleg, good job. That's interesting. And by the way, if anybody wants to reach out to Oleg, he's one of our partners. You can find him yourself, or you can go to I Refuse to Fail. He's in our directory, and he's one of our partners, so he's pretty easy to find there. So, and he's willing to help anybody with this stuff. I know he's helped me a lot with it. In fact, he helped, develop and design our website. So, appreciate it, Oleg. And like I said before, anybody else would like to participate in any of these or whatever, would like to learn more about it, feel free. Did I see somebody else's hand go up? Oh, okay. All right, go ahead.
A little delay about that because I was just thinking, and instead of me thinking, I'll ask, does this work with Go High Level? Or it's totally different off the different system?
No, this is strictly for basically talking to any AI. You can do it to ChatGPT.
Okay.
You
So
can do it
this
with
is for
Claude.
any AI.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's not
got
it's not tied to any other. But if you want to build something that'll interface with Go High Level, then you can do that.
Okay. For example, on Go High Level, there's this what do you call this? It's called, hold on one second. It's basically my speaker's promotional page that is being built in Go High Level, but the Go High Level is leaving like huge gaps, and will your system be able to create this promotional page I have? But what it is, it's a link that is on my landing page. It's all built on Go High Level, and that link that goes to the speakers, that's where the issue is. Like, can AI fix that gap?
No, absolutely. Anything that you can program, which that sounds like totally programmable,
Okay.
can be absolutely done with AI. And like I said, you can create interfaces directly with things like Go High Level to build something of your own that expands the capabilities of what Go High Level gives you. Because like you said, it has some gaps because most of the software out there that's off the shelf will have some gaps. Sorry, Colleen.
Yeah.
It just does.
Yeah, it's like an Excel. It's like you can't avoid the gaps with the Go High Level. It's like
Yeah, so the only thing when you're dealing with that kind of stuff is Go High Level has its own way. Actually, I was told it's kind of difficult to interface with it in
it's
terms of intention
challenging. Yeah.
and stuff. And so if they do have any kind of APIs or any kind of access at all, then yeah, you should be able to feed the documentation directly to AI saying, go learn this. And then based on what it's learning, you say, I want you to do A, B, C, D. Whatever these things that you're trying to accomplish, not how to do it. You're just telling it what you want done. And then the thing will go ahead and build it for you. And then you get tested and everything else. So the process of actually building application, testing everything is not that different from traditional way of doing it. You still need to test stuff. You still need to make sure it works, all of that. But in terms of building something like this, yeah. And if Go High Level doesn't do the job, and you talk to, say, Colleen, and I think David is also using Go High Level, you can ask them, they may be able to tell you more than I can because they don't do Go High Level. But can you actually build your own app to do this piece of functionality that Go High Level is missing without Go High Level? I'm sure you can do that too. So
one thing, Hala, you can go on ChatGPT and ask it anything about Go High Level, and it knows it like the back of its hand because so many people use it. So if you have a question about interface or anything, go to there.
Yeah, that's where it couldn't be addressed. That's why it's like, it was just like, how could it have those gaps? It's like, it makes you question, let's go high level and these are experts and here's chat. It still has those gaps. And to me, it doesn't look right. I have it live. It's actually live. It's public. It's going on the landing page. When you go to the speakers and you'll see that there is a gap in there, which is not supposed to be a gap. Yeah.
And that's because, Hallie, because typically that's the general, that's why I was always opposed to software off the shelf, because you can't, everybody has these special needs that they have or special desires or requests that it's impossible to write a piece of software to handle everybody.
Right.
I mean, because every person has their own little, can I do this? Can I do this? So once you start building, like I was talking earlier about balance of features versus simplicity, it just winds up this bloated, huge thing that barely moves. It's like when I'm using this MyChart, they have me use the MyChart to talk to the hospital, people and stuff. It takes forever to just even log in. Why? Because they have all this stuff they built into it, which I don't need, but it just, computers can only go at a certain speed and internet, all of that. So it's the same thing with this Go High Level or any other app. It's nothing against Go High Level. It's one of these deals where you want something specific that it may not handle, and they didn't think about it because they can't think of everything. And that's when you wind up with some of these gaps, which is why I advocate for your own custom software specifically to handle your needs. So.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, so we're gonna wind this up today, and I appreciate it, Oleg, and everybody's participation. And like I said before, if anybody wants to participate in one of our events, they're every Wednesday, and you can ask for a request to join us, and we'll be happy to invite you in. So with that, we're going to stop the recording.